Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is October 11th, 2020. And Howard is trying to create a new SPAC.
Jesus. Oh,
Howard, come on.
no.
What's your favorite SPAC, Howard, right now? Have you bought any of them?
No, I mean, I own some DraftKings here at 48 just for a trade, but I own DraftKings a little bit on the way up. Sold some in the high 50s. It's the only one that seems to me to be, even though it's overvalued, seems to be a company that will be around in, 30 years. Not the other ones won't. I just don't feel we've figured it out yet. A lot of good VCs. I think it's coming. I think the good companies are coming. I think we need a downturn too. Like if this was March, I'd be more bullish. But I don't want to see SPACs done at like NASDAQ 12,000. I'm a little wary of that.
It's like the next .com, basically, money.
Yeah. Hey, sweetie.
I caught up with you until I saw the masses.
Okay. Hey, hon, I'm just doing my show. Sorry. Look at that, an interruption of Momentum Monday from my daughter. I have no stock picks. She's still screwed. She's still screwed down. And the Pinterest trade.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's most stocks. It's not just Pinterest.
I know, but I'm still mad at her.
It's okay.
Look at that, Russell.
Russell, the small cap index just had, I think, the best 2 weeks in its history, something like this. I mean, just up 10, 11% for the past 2 weeks. And for me, the main reason is that the world, or I mean, more specifically Europe and the US, are in the midst of a second COVID wave, which means that there'll be more stimulus. That's, I mean, the most simple explanation possible, that the market just knows that politicians will vote for more stimulus.
But small caps, is it like financials that we're running?
I mean, a little bit of everything. Some biotech, some regional banks. Covers all sectors, obviously. But it has a little bit of everything. But yeah, financials, financial biotech, some industrials. But it's not just small caps. I mean, just in general, even if you take a look at the large caps, the S&P 500 is rising again above its 20-day, 50-day moving average. The same for the NASDAQ 100. Just stocks in general are rising just because the market is betting on more stimulus. And
so am I.
And
so is Howie.
I'm sorry?
They're throwing around ridiculous numbers like 10 trillion. Goldman's out there saying a blue wave is now good. These are the same people that 4 years ago said we need a red wave. So they'll say anything, they'll do anything. The market's politicized. Rates are low. I think the main risk, Ivan, continues to be, as we've been saying, is rates rising or inflation and valuation. What do you call it? Multiple contraction. But you look at Twilio. You look at these, 50 times sales company. I'm long Twilio. They're breaking out. I mean, if they're breaking out, estimates, what are they, so they may do 20 cents next year. Anyways, they did a big acquisition. We'll see how it opens up on Monday, but hard to argue with this. Even the laggard ones, SMAR, which I bought a little bit of because Jeff Richards was singing its praises on the no-code world of enterprise software. This is kind of a no-code play. So
everything is breaking out. That's the thing that
biotechs were interesting. I mean, this is generally a good season for them. Both the equal weighted and the I own a little bit of both because this is one of the only ETFs that I own because I can't pick biotechs. But they looked. Remember we were talking about a month ago, and we were like, oh, they got a hold here, and they did.
Yeah, of course they did. Absolutely. They held that level here on year 100.
And it's just everything's kind of skewed up. Throw March out there with biotech's probably did the best out of all the indexes. And so I feel like in a world where you can make stuff up, in a world that needs vaccine and therapies, and the biotechs will surprise people. Hardest part for me is I don't want to trade technical analysis on stocks. So I'm doing both indexes, the weighted one and the non-weighted one. Okay, keep going. What else are you seeing?
I think at this point, there is a bigger risk of not participating in the market, not being in the market and being out. Just
Correct.
Because, I mean, the market is basically betting that it doesn't matter who wins, there will be more stimulus, both here and in Europe.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And if anything, you know, a vaccine or something like this, that would...
And we're not closing the markets. Like, the numbers are going up. They're not closing. The country blew it. Like, we were too heavy-handed. Americans ain't going back in their homes. Kids ain't going back in their homes. You know, there is a risk with Democrats sweeping regulations. You know, there is that. I can't see a great scenario for a blue wave other than for weed that I've been talking about with Todd Harrison. But you know, Goldman's out there pounding the table. The blue wave's good.
Well, the market is a discounting mechanism. So already we saw some significant acceleration in clean tech.
Wow.
Especially
wow. I didn't know this ticker. Wow. Yeah, 10 and PBW. Wow.
And now some people say that we might see something remotely similar in cannabis stocks. We'll see. They started to perk up last week. Now we do.
I had MSOS as the US penny. It's like a derivatives way. That's the one Todd Harrison talked me into owning a little bit. It's a new ETF. And it is US companies. So a lot of pink sheet companies, they use swaps, they use derivatives to do it. But this is like, Todd believes that you got to own the US versions of these, not the Canadian ones. And this is the only ticker ETF that creatively has allowed people to do it. It's probably very thin and very risky. And it's already been very volatile, but I like it's trading above its IPO right about now. And these are the US companies that trade in cannabis, and they are going to be the leaders eventually. All right. So that's the one, that's a new ticker for people. Trannies, Ivan, I mean, delivering the last mile is cheaper than delivering retail centers. The IYT is all-time highs. So you have people do have money. It's distributed. And the transportation stocks, people are still want their stuff, even in a digital world. That's just bullish. You know, I bought a Peloton this week, Ivan, and I went to the store. I mean, I didn't want to buy it online. Their stores are phenomenal. You know, I'm not telling you know, I own the stock. Don't buy the stock, everybody. You know, I don't care what you do, but this is a phenomenon. This is a Tesla. As I said a couple months ago, this is like the new Tesla, meaning they'll solve, whether they buy Nautilus and redo some of the lower end products. What's Peloton's market cap? 35 billion. If you look at Nautilus, NLS, which I think Ophir, a lot of smart people were on the really smart play to play the derivative, which is up way more. But this is still only a $700 million company compared to Peloton's 35 billion. Now, there's no community, there's no, this is just a cheaper version for a home gym. So there's just, this fitness space is just massive. And so we should see acquisitions. But more importantly, Peloton, Ivan, if you pull it back up, as I was saying over the months when I owned it, is a phenomenon. And it's going to catch Lulu in market cap. It already has closed the gap tremendously. The mirror,
maybe if the clothing line is successful.
Well, their retail stores, Ivan, they can sell clothes. Once they're in the same malls, and once you have an affinity to their product that you spend an hour a day on. Listen, if you do yoga, no doubt, Lulu ain't going anywhere. But this is definitely between Rafa and biking and Peloton in fitness. You can see it slowed down Lulu. If anything, it's really slowed down Lulu. So that's an interesting one to watch. E-commerce continues to be the place to watch. You know, the Etsy's, the Amazons, the Shopify continue to make all-time highs. Chegg,
Yeah, anything related
CHG.
to social distancing because of COVID just continues to thrive, and Shopify is setting up for another breakout basically here.
And then the payment stocks like the Stone and Pags and are continuing to not play catch up, but to continue to firm up. Stone broke out. Pags looks like it's trying to break out.
Yeah, Square, PayPal, both of them are also.
Square goes up every day.
Yeah, they don't beat Bitcoin, right? They said that they bought 15 billion.
And you can see that was helpful to Bitcoin. Yeah, PayPal's kind of lagging, but if you look at Bitcoin's had a great week, back right near 11,500.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think with both governments just saying they're going to spend money, gold, Bitcoin, you can have some on. Gold have been pulling back, but it's starting to firm up. I own a little bit, but my big position still continue to be e-commerce and software. Elastic is my biggest position. It just finally had a great week. It's really starting to punch its weight class.
Yeah.
What's
a lot of the software names just started to break out from long base.
That looks great. That looks great. I mean, this product is so shit. There's going to be so many disruptors to Build.com, but wow. Okay, keep going.
I mean,
Datadog. Yep.
We've been talking about the same things. I mean, clean energy, social distancing. They just continue to dominate, and we are just
builders either with rates low too, and that's the one that surprised me.
Yeah, home builders continues. Maybe if rates kind of spike, that trend will be slowed down. But as of right now, definitely it's been one of the strongest trends as well. And
yeah, even Japan.
Next week we are entering the new earnings season.
Wow.
Okay. It's interesting. Yeah. Already, obviously, first financials reports, probably a bunch of boring reports, and nothing to really make from them. But after them, comes tech. And I think that typically the weeks that the 2 to 3 weeks that lead to earnings reports typically are bullish. Especially for companies that had strong reports the previous quarter. So we might see a pre-earnings rally in many of the tech stocks that reported strong reports last quarter. So okay. We see that in Apple, I think kind of setting up here for a breakout, Facebook as well. With all the talk about...
Netflix looks probably the best of them. Think.
Yeah, Netflix also. As I said, it's
a little surprising to me because there is a lot of. I haven't watched it as much. I've been flipping between HBO, but I just, these stocks seem to tend to tell me that we're going to be social distancing for a lot more longer than people think.
Yeah.
If you look at the airlines and cruise, even traffic may be improving. It's just not going to get to the pace. If we look at the airlines, they're starting to improve, but they're not moving in any kind of confident, But where's Carnival Cruise?
I mean, if Warren Buffett sold all his airlines, I assume the long-term prospects are not that great. But
yeah. So you can see, it's just in Simon Property, my favorite of, if you're going to think about it, just can't get mojo.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely in a, I don't know, I wouldn't call it accumulation for sure. They're just...
Right. No, they look like they're ready to keel over at any moment. And we're, that's why I can't get super, at some point, the mood of social distancing, trumps, I hate that word, trumps, you had valuations and mood and bad weather and kids at home, Zooming. There's still something out there, I still have, and I'm 55, as I always say, I have one foot out the door, but my foot in the door is in high beta digital growth stocks. And no, I'm not going to get cute with any size with anything else. So we've got home builders. I'm just trying to see what else I might have missed.
Everything, software, infrastructure software was complete fire. Look at what FS
Good point.
Down.
Yeah, Fastly was the big one. Cloudflare, all-time highs.
Yeah. So software as a big social distancing play has been on absolute fire, along with clean energy. And now we might see something similar in biotech and in healthcare in general.
Yeah.
We're starting to see some very constructive setup in the sector. To me, it's very interesting how come Regeneron hasn't really taken off yet.
I think that just proves how little. And again, I know these Trump people get so mad at me, but it proves how little. No one believes him. He doesn't know anything about this drug, right? And the company had a good run already. But if you look at China, how much has he ripped on China? Alibaba, all-time highs. Remember I said buy those dips? You know, Trump, he can't keep focus, right? Like he's campaigning, not thinking. So look at Alibaba. Wasn't he supposed to, like, you know, bring rain on these people? Look at Tencent, back above 70. I mean, you know.
Quite a few Chinese stocks are setting up. Right?
Yeah.
It's breaking out.
This is people around the world want digital. Yeah. Oh, what's that?
So they make e-scooters. They basically supply the world.
I like to hear you say e-scooters. One more time with that?
No.
Marijuana and e-scooters are my new favorite Ivan words. Wow, that is, because I wouldn't touch those companies in the US. They just seem disgusting to me. Wow. But
big accumulation day on Friday, big earnings day, I think, also.
And the Chinese Tesla just won't stop.
Quite a few of them are actually setting up.
Take a look at Plug. Take a look at Plug, which, you know, I've owned a few shares, just speculative, not enough to really care. Maybe 1,000 shares. Look at that thing from like 8 when I bought it. It's just, if you go look at the monthly, this hydro, like for trucks, this has been a story stock for 1,000 years. 1999, I remember this thing. Okay, you are basically at all-time highs. There is nobody left from the last 10 years in this stock. And there's definitely a story this time. There's demand for their product. I mean, this thing, Morgan Stanley just came out with the buy. So I don't have time to like research all these, but there's another one for people to research. First Solar, which, you know, I got chopped out of, had a big secondary, continually misses their number. That is a bullish setup. So I'm going to have to relook at that this week. That looks good to you, right, Ivan?
Oh, it looks amazing.
Yeah. So got a few shares on, you know, if that closes an all-time high with all the negative news that thing is digested. It's the dog in the sector, but we mentioned the Chinese solar company a few weeks ago. Fucking thing doubled. JKS.
All of them.
No, but JKS. Oh, I'm kicking myself because, you know.
All of them have gone crazy.
I mean,
that's what I was wondering.
When I mentioned that at like 35, it's fucking 2 weeks ago. And it was just breaking out here in oh my God, these are really fascinating.
Yeah.
So these are small companies too, so they can move as this money comes out of like the big tech. These things can really move.
And they've already moved substantially.
No, but they can really move. You know what I mean? Like if you, again, I don't want people to chase. Like you gotta practice some discipline. But yeah,
Chinese Tesla. I have a new.
That's what I said. NIO. Jesus.
Talk that I wanted to share. That they signed a contract with the Chinese Tesla. I think last week. CRNC. They provide basically the software for all those car companies. Just make them more modern. So definitely very interesting setup here. Building a new setup and starting to act constructively. This is something that eventually in a good market can go to 100, I think. It's only a $2 billion company, software space. I mean, the market doesn't really expect them to grow.
Nice, $2 billion company, but is it Chinese?
I don't think it's a Chinese. It's based in Massachusetts. So
okay.
They might have some Chinese connections, but I think it's a US-based company. Okay,
I like it. And the other one I was going to mention is CLC2. You know, I talked about it on an interview I did with Rally Road. This is a back end small cap in the collectible space. You know, that I've been following and own a few shares. I wouldn't chase it, but like they basically have a monopoly, public they're the only public stock to play. And, you know, when you see all these, you know, Jordan shoes and cards and everything selling at their rating system. So they're making money like a Moody's almost off this. So you can start seeing some of these small caps starting to work because of some of these big trends. But I think you're right. It's trannies, it's rate sensitive stuff, like home builders that benefit Zillow, but I'd rather own the digital versions of stuff that benefits from rates, and software and biotech. So not much different. All right, but you have a great week, Ivan.
All right, you too, Howard.
Oh, by the way, anything on the short, or are you just completely not seeing short setups?
I mean, even if I am, it's just not the time for it.
So that's also more important. I always forget to ask the fact that we're not. There's no temptation to do shorts. There'll be better chances for people so I think the play is, you know, stay with your trends here, and we'll check back in next week.
Yep. All right.
See you.